Afternoon, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jack's Beach. Grandmother and I are just getting over being sick for like a couple weeks. There's this flu, this sinus infection kind of flu that's been going around the whole United States, and we had it. But we're back on our feet, so hopefully my voice will last as we push off into the next chapter, chapter 36 of the book of Exodus. And we saw that in 35 that God started to put this team of artisans together to build the tabernacle and everything that has to do with the cult worship of the children of Israel. And by cult, I'm not saying that it's a cult the way that we look at it in modern English. A cult is like some kind of crazy people who believe something that's not within the realm of orthodoxy. We'll put it that way. But this just means the way that people worship. That's the cult aspect of a religion, is the way that people worship the God that they worship. So the children of Israel are out in the desert, in the wilderness, and they're going to be wandering for 40 years, and they're going to have this thing. So God has put this team together. Now we're going to see what the team is going to do, and then we're going to start to get into building the actual tabernacle that they'll carry through the wilderness. So Bezalel, and he's the head guy, and Oholiab, and every skilled person in whom the Lord has put skill and ability. And remember that. If you have skill and ability, it's a gift of God. Don't ever forget that and use it for the glory of God whenever you can. An ability to know how to do all the work for the service of the sanctuary, or to do the work according to all that the Lord has commanded. Moses summoned Bezalel and Oholiab, and every skilled person in whom the Lord had put skill, everyone whose heart stirred him to volunteer to do the work. So that's the other thing, is you have to be a willing participant in the kingdom of God. It's not like, oh yeah, I'll do it. You really need me to do it, I'll do it. The people that gave all the jewelry and yarn and otter skins and all the other things that were donated by people who wanted to donate. God loves a cheery giver, I think is the way that it's put. And all these people that are doing the work are volunteers. They want to do it. And they realize that they've been given a skill from God, and they want to put it to good work. They received from Moses all the offerings the Israelites had brought to do the work for the service of the sanctuary, and they still continued to bring him a free will offering each morning. So all the skilled people who were doing all the work on the sanctuary came from the work they were doing and told Moses, "The people are bringing much more than is needed for the completion of the work which the Lord commanded us to do." Moses instructed them to take his message throughout the camp, saying, "Let no man or woman do any more work for the offering of the sanctuary." So the people were restrained from bringing any more. Now the materials were more than enough for them to do all the work. So what do we have here? People are so happy to give the work, that they're given more than is needed. Now remember that some of these are the same people who were donating to make the golden calf. So don't ever think about like, oh yeah, well I'm there. Because you're never there. You're always getting there. So let's talk about building the tabernacle. All the skilled among those who were doing the work made the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen and blue and purple and scarlet yarn. They were made with cherubim that were the work of an artistic designer. And cherubim are these angels, these angelic beings. The length of one curtain was 42 feet, and the width of one curtain was 6 feet, the same size. The length of one curtain was 42 feet, and the width... Oh, okay, so the length was 42, and the width was 6 feet, the same size for each of the curtains. So these curtains are 42 feet high. Yeah, they're 4 stories high. This is a little bit different than you think. You think it's like a little pup tent out in the middle of the desert. This thing is a little bit big. He joined 5 of the curtains to one another, and the other 5 curtains he joined to one another. He made loops of blue material along the edge of the end curtain in the first set. He did the same along the edge of the end curtain in the second set. So these loops are so they can put a pole through it and carry these. He made 50 loops on the first curtain, and he made 50 loops on the end curtain that was in the second set, with the loops opposite one another. He made 50 gold clasps and joined the curtains together to one another with the clasps so that the tabernacle was a unit. So this is sort of like a shower curtain. That's what you should imagine in your mind. These loops are hooked to the top of this curtain. And there's going to be this giant frame that goes around, and it's going to hang from that. And then also they'll be able to roll it up and transport it, and then put it up again. When we don't know exactly how far they wandered when they wandered, except we know that they went from Egypt to the land of Canaan. We know how far that is, but we don't know really exactly how far they went. He made curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. He made 11 curtains. The length of one curtain was 45 feet, and the width of one curtain was 6 feet. So these are 4.5 stories high. He joined 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. And we have to see how this works out here. I don't know if the side curtains, the first set of curtains, the 42 feet tall ones, go up and then over the roof. We'll have to see if there's a separate roof. Because if there's not a separate roof, this is lower to the ground than 4 stories. He joined 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. He made 50 loops along the edge of the curtain in the first set and 50 loops along the edge of the curtain that joined the second set. He made 50 bronze clasps to join the tent together so that it might be a unit. He made a covering for the tent out of ram skins dyed red, and over that a covering of fine leather. So one thing that we're going to notice, and I might not have pointed this out before, but everything in the inner part of the sanctuary is gold. And then as you go out to the outer part, you have silver. So there's the Holy of Holies. Everything is either gold or overlaid with gold. Then when you get into the outer sanctuary, it's inside the tent. Now you have some gold and some silver. And by the time you get out to the outer, you have some silver, I think. And we're in the courtyard. And you have some bronze. So these clasps are on the outer part of it, so they're made of bronze. He made the frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood as uprights. The length of each frame was 15 feet. The width of each frame was 2.5 feet, with 2 projections per frame parallel one to another. He made all the frames of the tabernacle in this way. So he made frames for the tabernacle. Frames for the south side, he made 40 silver bases under the 20 frames, so it's a little bit closer to the inside because it's silver. 2 bases under the first frame for its 2 projections, and likewise 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 projections. And for the second side of the tabernacle, the north side, he made 20 frames, and there are 40 silver bases, 2 bases under the first frame and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the back of the tabernacle on the west, he made 6 frames. He made 2 frames for the corners of the tabernacle on the back. At the 2 corners, they were doubled at the lower end and finished together at the top in 1 ring. So he did for both. So there were 8 frames and there's silver bases, 16 bases, 2 bases under each frame. So it looks like these poles that went up were 15 feet. So that's 1.5 stories. He made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames on one side of the tabernacle, and the 5 bars for the frames on the second side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the tabernacle for the backside on the west. He made the middle bar to reach from end to end in the center of the frames. He overlaid the frames with gold and made their rings of gold to provide places for the bars, and he overlaid the bars with gold. So we're getting closer to the inner sanctuary with where these are located. He made the special curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine twisted linen. He made it with cherubim, the work of an artistic designer. And that's the angelic creatures. I am in like cherubim. A cherub is an angel, and cherubim means more than one. Like in Israel, when I was there, I went to McDonald's, and it was called McDonald'im. The work of an artistic designer. He made for it 4 posts of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold hooks, and he cast for them 4 silver bases. He made a hanging for the entrance of the tent of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer, and its 5 posts and their hooks. He overlaid their tops and their bands with gold, but their 5 bases were bronze. Okay. So this part is very technical. I don't know what kind of people you're going to wind up being. And Frank, you're 22, almost 23 now. So you're fully developed as a human being. But I haven't talked to you that much in a few years. So I don't know if you're more of a left brain or right brain person. I'm a right brain person. So I think in concepts. Left brain people think in logic. So this is something that you're either going to sit there and you're going to hear like blah, 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 blah. Or you're going to go, oh, this is fascinating. I wonder exactly what it looks like. And in the last video, I showed you some of the stuff that it looks like. Anyway, peace out.